Being bootstrapped is super overhyped. The pros of being VC backed by a good VC far outweigh the pros of being bootstrapped, especially in the tech industry and especially if you're in a competitive market with a race to the top. That's what I said back in season one, episode two, August 2022, 4 months after we just closed a $2 million pre-seed round from a VC in Boston. And I thought I had it figured out. And I'm not coming back to that episode saying I was wrong about the VC or anything like that. That's not the point of this episode. But I'm basically going back to saying what I actually had no idea about. And I was inside the ambition trap. And that's what this episode is going to be about. I'm going to tell you about what the trap actually is, how it works, why it's worse right now than it's ever been before, and what I've started to learn about how to live with it. If you've ever said, once I get the promotion, then I'll be okay. Once I close this deal, then I'll be okay. Once I lose the weight, once I find the right person, once I make my first million, once I graduate, once, all these onces. And then you get there, and within a month, the goalpost moved. Then this is what we're talking about today. Whether you're a founder, an employee, a parent, a student, a kid trying to figure out what to do with their life, the trap doesn't care which room you're in. It works the same way in literally all of them. And it's a mentality that we all have. And I want to start off by naming the thing precisely, because ambition trap sounds like a buzzword. Everyone's hyped on it. It's what's viral. I don't want you to hear it like it's some viral thing. I want you to hear it as a specific, researched, named pattern, something that's literally been studied for decades. The cleanest version is the ambition trap is the gap between what we expect achievement to deliver and what achievement actually delivers. We expect achievement to deliver a feeling, specifically arrived, done, okay, worthy, checkbox, whatever your version of that feeling is. It doesn't deliver that feeling. It delivers on a good day about a week of dopamine. And then a quiet voice in the back of your head says, okay, what's next? That gap between the feeling we were promised and the feeling we actually got, that's the trap. And here's how it actually works, like mechanically, because once you understand the mechanics, you stop blaming yourself for being ungrateful or feeling ungrateful. You hit a milestone, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. You feel good for a little while, then your brain does what your brain is built to do. It adapts. It takes the new thing and it makes the new normal. Within a few weeks, that floor has moved. The win you just had doesn't feel like a win anymore. It feels that's your new baseline. That's your new normal. So you need a bigger win to feel anything. Then your brain adapts to that one, so on and so forth. You need a bigger win after that. That's the same mechanic as addiction, a different drug. The drug is achievement. The dose has to keep going up just to feel normal. That's not a moral failing. That's the operating system. We are built to keep going and adapting. That's literally human nature. So modern life is just monetizing that wiring at scale. If you've ever caught yourself saying, once I get the promotion, once I close the deal, once I lose the weight, once I find the right partner, once I get a million, all that stuff, then you got there and within 30 days, the goalpost has moved. What you experienced wasn't a personal failing. You're not ungrateful. You're not broken. You're not weak. You were inside the ambition trap. The trap is what brains do. The trap is what every nervous system is doing right now to some degree in every single person. Here's where it goes from psychology to politics. Modern life is structured around the part of you that can't arrive. Capitalism is, social media is, the corporate ladder is, the dating app is. Every system you're inside of is monetizing the part of your brain that's incapable of arriving. That's not a conspiracy. That's literally just math. That's just business. That's the systems make money when you keep going. They make less money when you stop. So they're built to keep you going. And that's human nature, taking advantage of human nature. There's no off button on the system. So you have to install one inside yourself. And nobody teaches you how. That's what I've been learning and realizing for a long, long time. And I want to add one more layer because there's something specific about right now, this moment in history, that makes the trap legitimately worse than it's ever been at any point in my lifetime. The entire country feels like it's an optimism deficit. The economy, the people, cost of living is up. The world feels heavy. World War III, World War IV, World War V. I don't even know, can't even keep track anymore what's happening right now. And the state of basically everything is loud and uncertain. And on top of that, we're being shown a version of success every single day that says everyone else is winning while you're overworked just trying to make something happen. And the thing that's broken, and I feel this in myself, I see it in my friends, I see it in my people, in my network, and my team, is that we've lost the ability to reframe the work that we're actually doing. And that's really, Jim, the massive issue. It used to be you could be tired, you could be in the grind, but you could tell yourself a story about why the grind was worth it. I used to do that all the time. I'm like, this is going to be worth it because of this. The reframe was free, but now the reframe doesn't come. The grind hits, the meaning doesn't. Every win lands flat, every milestone tastes like nothing. We're depleted in the achievement sense, depleted in dopamine sense, depleted in the just feel okay after a good day sense. And it's not that we don't want to feel good. The system that used to deliver that feeling good is broken. And we're supposed to be just be putting up the inputs, hoping that the output will land differently. When I was a kid in the 90s, the trap existed, but it was local, it was centralized. Your benchmark for success was the dad down the street with the nicer car. That was it. The kid who had the nicer bike, the kid who had the motorized scooter. The ambition stayed in your zip code, it stayed in your neighborhood. You measured yourself against the people that you saw. Now, all day, every day, you open your phone, there's a 12-year-old kid building $1 billion company. There's a 17-year-old kid who bought his parents' house from TikTok money. The benchmark for modern success moves faster than anyone can keep up with. So the older generation now is struggling to keep up with a benchmark that's changing in real time, faster than they can read about it. And the younger generation is literally starting from a state of frantic, trying to make something happen fast before they age out of whatever window the algorithm tells them that they have. The ambition trap used to be specific things my parents handed to. Now it's literally in the air. It's on every screen. It's on your phone. It's on every single thing that you walk by. It's the new algorithm. It's in every single person, every single place that you go. Gary Vee always talks about you're never too old to start something, all that kind of stuff. Like, it falls on deaf ears now. The one helpful sign is the new generation of kids opting out. I love seeing these articles where kids are not drinking. They're trying to stay off social media. Having a flip phone is cool now. Burned out before they even hit high school from the constant sense of you're failing. And clocking it early enough to say, nope, not for me, that's not a failing. That's legitimately a correction. I love to see it. So when you see that, that's kind of a saving grace for what's happening right now. And so the trap is universal, but each one of us has a specific version of it. My trap, literally, I was born, came from my parents. I grew up watching my parents live the American dream. But the sanitized version, the real version is I grew up watching them outwork everyone else to win. Now, I don't want to be cliche, don't want to be cheesy, don't want to be stereotypical. My parents are not your typical immigrant story, came here demanding I get 100 when I get a 98. That's not my story. My parents weren't those kinds of people. Failure was just never an option for me, not because they made it not an option. I made it not an option. They gave me the standard and I held myself to it. Excellence was the standard. And my parents did everything in their power to support us so we could meet it. They expected a lot, but they backed every single expectation with their own effort. I had amazingly supportive parents who believed in their kids. They believed in me and my siblings, and they showed up for us every single time in every single way. So what I absorbed wasn't the pressure from a TV show or a movie of the immigrant parents. What I absorbed was stopping is losing. Resting is falling behind. And if you're not working, someone else is, and they're beating you. My dad always told us, if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. And if you're late, don't even bother showing up. The engine came first. I got wired for ambition before I even knew what I was going to use it on. Whatever I'd eventually pointed at would come later. It was always evolving. Now, that's my version, right? Yours might be a parent who pushed you. Yours might be a parent who didn't. You're chasing the achievement that finally gets seen, that gets understood, that gets acknowledged. Yours might be a culture that taught you the worst thing in life is being lazy. Yours might be a teacher in the third grade who told you that you were this special flower, and you've been trying to prove that teacher right ever since. The vehicle is different for everybody, but the destination is the same. An engine that was installed before you even knew what you were going to do with it. And one concrete thing that I always looked back on growing up in the restaurants, my parents always worked. It was 12-hour days, weekends, banquet halls that we had at the restaurant. They were doing weddings and graduation parties and all this stuff. They never said no to that because it was working. They worked. They wanted to work and they wanted to move forward and support and provide for the family. But here's what nobody told me, and I don't think anyone told my parents this either. There is no off button on the switch that I inherited. The ambition that got me here only knows one position, and that's full on. And that's not a flaw. It's literally how my parents survived. That engine is why they are here. It's why they are where they are. And it's why I'm here. It's why I'm where I am. But I was running their survival engine on my own life, but the terrain is completely different. When you're in the trap on the inside, because hearing the mechanic explained is one thing. Watching it happen to you in real life in three different rooms, three different stages of your life is a completely different thing. So when I thought I had the answer, it was actually the trap. And so when I joined Boeing, I started Boeing first job out of college, right out of school. And within the first 30 days, I automated my job. I was brought in business and planning analyst making $48,100 a year. And on day one, they gave me a sheet of paper and they said, this is what you do. Monday, run these reports. Tuesday, run these reports. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, reports. Just going into a system reporting. Like, how is this not being automated? And I was bothering the heck out of my manager. My manager was like, well, we have this new system that IBM built called Cognos. I can send you to a training there. It takes about a week. You can go and figure out what it is, and then you can bring it back and tell us. I came back and I automated my job within 30 days. And my team hated me for it. They're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, it's not as good as we can do it. And this is, I literally automated the whole thing. My manager had no idea what to do with me. And he was always looking at this kid who just shown up and like rewritten his own job description within a month. And they don't teach you that as a manager at Boeing. And he was like, I have no idea what the hell to do with this kid. So he started adding me in all these different things, Six Sigma, and I went and worked on that 15 and all this stuff. And then I got an opportunity to move to Seattle with Boeing. Within 10 months, I got promoted. Standard track at Boeing was like 18 to 24 months. I cut it in half because I'm like, I'm relentless. I'm going to get what I need to get and be on the track that no one else has ever been on. So I got the opportunity to move to Seattle and work on the Dreamliner. And I packed a one-way ticket and moved to Seattle. First time I'd ever been there in my life was literally a one-way ticket. New role, new city, new team, working on the 787 Dreamliner. It was unbelievable. And Boeing's whole future was bet on the 787 Dreamliner. I'm like, hell yeah, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And that's where met the best manager that I've ever had. And he was a real manager. He was supportive, not full of shit, the kind of person who actually cared whether you grew and how you grew. And if you wanted it, he was going to find a way to help you get there. And he could see the engine running in me, and maybe better than I could because I was 23, 24 years old. And one day in his office, I was sitting there and I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm working so hard. I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I need the promotion. And I'm like, just that energy. And he sat me down and he goes, stick your hand in a bucket of water and pull it out. That's how long it will take for Boeing to miss you when you leave. And he wasn't saying it out of like a threat. He wasn't saying, well, if you're so unhappy, it was more a father figure type advice. He said it out of love. He wanted me to know that all the frustration, all this, like, who cares? It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Just relax. And I know listening to it, it sounds rough. He wasn't bitter. He wasn't putting me down. He was trying to give me the gift of perspective. The company doesn't miss you. Don't sell your soul to a system that wouldn't notice you if you're gone. That's what he was trying to teach me. And I was too young. And I was like, holy shit. When he said that, I was like, it changed my entire perspective. It was by far to this day the most loving thing and supportive thing that a manager has ever said to me. And I appreciated the lesson. I just didn't really know enough to apply it because the engine was running. Within months of getting Seattle, I was frustrated. I'd just been promoted twice as fast as all my peers, twice as fast as anyone on the standard track. And I was frustrated. I was on the Dreamliner program and I was already wondering when the next promotion was coming, what I had to do. I was making $55,000 a year to rebuild the business case for the 787 Dreamliner that was going to the board of directors for Boeing. The plane that was going to carry hundreds of millions of people, the plane that Boeing bet its entire future on for $55,000. That seemed nuts to me. It seemed insane to me. I was working my ass off there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to leverage this into another promotion. And so after a couple years being in Seattle and working on the Dreamliner and working on some unbelievable things, I was like, okay, what's next? Because I was never at that moment where I was like, oh, this is enough. This is good. This is where I should be. And I can see the future playing out for me the way that I think it's going to play out for me because I've done all these things. So I left Boeing, went into consulting. And in consulting, I talked about the story that happened with my boss, the worst boss I've ever had in the last episode. And so when I left Boeing, I went into consulting. After consulting, I went into Clockwork, and it was always the same engine. It was just different rooms and years of pouring everything I had in every single thing. Every situation was life or death. I'm pushing forward and I'm putting my entire self on the line to make sure that I do exactly what I needed to do, what I thought I needed to do, so I could be happy, so I could be successful, so I could, whatever you want, check that box. And I felt good. What ended up happening is I was underwater on all the stuff around me, all the important stuff. And the engine that kept whispering, that kept me going was, once you get this promotion, you'll be okay. Once you raise this round, you'll be okay. Once we hire this person, you'll be okay. When I started Clockwork, we closed a $2 million pre-seed round from a VC in Boston in February of 2022. I made an episode talking about VC backed versus bootstrapped several months after I closed that round because I had bootstrapped Clockwork for 4 years. If you don't know what bootstrap means, it means I literally paid for everything for Clockwork out of my checking account. Sold my condo, moved back in with my parents just to keep the dream going, just so I could pay my employees and build the product that I knew was going to be the future. And I thought I had everything figured out. And within a year, I was already setting bigger goals, the next round, the next fundraise, within months, the next milestone. The trap was there. The ambition trap was never gone. Once we hit our Series A, once I closed this deal, once we hit $1 million in annual revenue, once we hit blah, 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 all the once. It was the same trap over and over and over again. And it didn't matter what situation I was in. That engine was always there and there was no off button. And when you look at the years of frustration in corporate, you look at the years being broke building Clockwork, you look at underwater on my body, underwater on people that I loved, it was the same engine that had no off button. And when you sit down and you look at the blessings of each situation, what 23-year-old had the opportunity to work at Boeing on the 787 Dreamliner? I was so wrapped up in the ambition trap that I couldn't enjoy being a part of that. What Arab founder can raise money out of Boston? I was too wrapped up to enjoy that and be in that moment and genuinely be happy with it rather than looking at the next thing. When I was losing all my weight, I would hit a milestone. I'm like, all right, I think I'm good. And then I'm like, no, I'm not good. And even now, best shape of my life, there's still days where I'm like, I need to lose another 10. I need to get more. I need to be in the gym. I need to hit like all that. It's always the next thing. Whereas 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you're dreaming of being where you're at right now. or where you were last year, where you were the year before. That's the ambition trap. It's the same switch. It's just pointed in a different direction with the right people around me, with the right work on myself, all the stuff. Like lost all that weight, built a company that investors wrote real checks for, that support real companies. We have thousands of users that genuinely use our software every day. Got my money right again. And it still surprised me. Like all the stuff there, it's the same engine. Boeing, bootstrap, fundraise, it's the same pattern. Different rooms, consulting, it's the same switch the whole way. It's always the same kind of thing. The room is different, but the engine is always constant. One of the things that was a very big eye-opening experience for me was when I went home one day and my parents looked at me after I raised all this money and we were doing really well with my parents were like, "You look so unhappy." And when your parents tell you who they love, like all I get is support out of my parents. And when they say you look so unhappy, no one knows you better than your parents. I don't care who or what comes in your life, your mom and your dad know you through every single thing. And when you hear your parents tell you that, you're like, holy shit, am I that bad? And that changed everything. That changed the perspective that I had and that I needed to have going forward. And so when I go back to what I said in that 2022 episode, in August of 2022, I looked at all the different things and I realized I had it wrong. I had a lot wrong of what I felt back in 2022 because I was just at a milestone. I was just at a box that I checked. Back then, I said, you're all alone. Being an entrepreneur is extremely lonely because when you don't have investors checking in or available to brainstorm, it's even more lonely. That was such a naive look at how it felt or what it meant to be VC backed. Because loneliness, I thought was silence. And being an entrepreneur, there's no lonelier path. And I've always talked about that. Loneliness isn't about how many people are in the room. It's about what the room demands from you. Bootstrapped, the loneliness was silence. Post fundraise, it's full of people that demand things out of you every single time you speak to them. They expect you to have the answer for every single thing. Being bootstrapped lets you be confused in private, lets you be frustrated in private, lets you fail in private. With investors, it's all with witnesses. I traded a quieter lonely for a louder lonely. And when I was talking about you have a team of people who have been there and done that, that's what I said on that episode, who you can rely on, who will offer great advice and guidance. It's true, but the math underneath the part of the trap doesn't tell you. A seed fund, investors, they have 20, 30 portfolio companies. They want one, maybe two to say, return the fund is what they say, to give them all their money back for the entire fund. And then the others, who cares what happens to them? It's basically, in layman terms, that's how it works. Those are the mathematics of investing. It's the same shit for every single other area of your life. Your manager, your real estate agent, your therapist, your consultants, your whatever. You are one of many things, and their advice to help you is one of many things that can be statistically correct for a large group of people, but you may be the outlier. You may be the one person that does not apply to. You may be the one special case, the exception. And that's just math. That's not like anyone's doing anything nefarious to you or anything like that. You're running the one life. And it could be wrong, it could be right, but that's not the situation that you have to know. That's the math. Don't read the tone. It's understanding the actual dynamic of the situation. When I was bootstrapped, I made every decision from desperation. And when I fundraised, I thought I was making decisions from a position of power. But when I was bootstrapped, I made the decisions, but they were my decisions. After I fundraised, I was making decisions with other people's money. Those are not the same thing. When I was bootstrapped, it was discomfort, but it was mine. Now I have an obligation to make decisions. I have an obligation to show up. Like when you get that promotion, You hire that team, you hire that person, you get that house, you get the dream car, you get the whatever. Now it's an obligation of what you're signing up for. And what looks like power, like I can buy things, I can pay myself, I can do all these things. It's obligation. You cannot be wrong publicly. Now there's a bigger set of demands on your calendar. When those decisions hit, you have to be right more often than not. And I cannot be sure unpublicly because you report, you defend, you perform. Same was true with the promotion of Boeing. Same is true with every manager role ever. The trap sells you the seat at the table. What it delivers is that you can no longer be unsure out loud. When you're a new associate at a company or a entry level, whatever, it's fine if you mess up. It's not that big of a deal. But the higher you grow, the more you promote, the more responsibility you have. You can't mess up. You literally cannot. And so when I was talking about a stamp of credibility in the market with a fundraise, the stamp is real. When you raise money as a tech company from a venture capital firm, the stamp is real. When you are at Boeing and you get a promotion, the stamp is real. Everyone's like, holy shit, this person's awesome. This person's doing it. I was on this quote unquote people to watch list. I thought I was hot shit. The key is it was people, not person. It was one of many on this people to watch list. And so when I said the weight of the world seems to lift from your shoulders for a hot minute until you realize you're officially in the game now, that is the number one most accurate thing that I said on that episode. I had no idea what the hell I meant until now. I mean, going through what I've gone through, now I'm like, holy shit, you were right. But I had no idea how right I was. Being officially in the game is not the reward. I thought it was like, oh, cool, I'm in the big leagues. It's a new, harder game with a scoreboard that no one tells you about on signing day. The stamps are something you rent, and rent is due literally every single day. The rent is paid in performance. It's paid in decisions that are successful. And each one is the trap doing what the trap does. The trap doesn't lie. The ambition trap does not lie. It just doesn't give you the whole sentence. The whole sentence is once you get X, you'll be okay for a week. Once you get X, you'll be okay for 30 days. Then you'll need the next X. The trap is fluent in the first half of that sentence. They had you in the first half. It never speaks the second half because our brain doesn't want to take that and move it to the second half. So how do you know if you're in the trap right now? Because most of us are in the trap. The trap is the default condition of being a person in this economy with this internet. Kids are literally growing up being in this trap before they even have any idea of it. And so when you think like the grind hits, but the meaning doesn't, you used to be able to tell yourself a story about why the work was worth it. The story stopped coming, stopped being there for you. You're still doing the work. It just lands flat. The other marker is the dopamine flatline. You hit the milestone you'd be chasing. You felt good for a day, maybe two, maybe three, maybe a week, then it was gone. And you're like, well, what happened? I worked so hard for this. I worked years and it felt good for a hot minute. That's a marker. The floor moved on you. It's the same drug, same dose, less feeling. It's that addiction. And then the shifting goalpost. This is marker 3. You got the thing. Within 30 days, you now have a bigger thing that you're going after. The first thing was never the thing. The engine wanted a thing, anything. You put anything in the engine, it's going to take it and it's going to chew it up and spit it out. The specific thing was a costume. It's literally fake. And when you get it, okay, great. What's the next thing I'm going to go after? Then it's your body keeping score. This is the most important marker on this. Your nervous system doesn't know that you quote unquote made it. It's still running the same program: sleep, weight, the food you're eating, the people you've stopped texting back, the addictions you're managing. The body keeps record. And here's the test. Imagine getting the next thing you're chasing. Don't imagine the win itself. Imagine the morning after the win. Now imagine the morning after that. Now imagine 90 days. Are you done? Is your brain already on the thing after that? If your brain is already on the next thing, you were never chasing the first thing. You were chasing the engine. Your engine was making those decisions. And this is the hard part. Where's the off button for the ambition trap? I don't have an answer. I'm the worst person at saying no and unplugging. Worst person. I'm still figuring that out. So this isn't like a 5-step plan. It's what I've started to learn after 2 years of very, very dedicated work on this purpose. The first thing I learned is the off button isn't out there. The trap tells you the off button is the next thing. The trap is wrong. The next thing has the same off switch problem that the current thing has. It's non-existent. Trying to find the off button outside of yourself is also the trap. And I've fallen in that for many, many years, the majority of my life. The promotion isn't the off button. The fundraise isn't the off button. The relationship, the house, the body, the off button can't be a thing you just go and get and then boom, that's it. So if it's not out there, then where is it? The off button, it's not a destination. It's a practice. It's a muscle. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's a muscle that points opposite to everything that the trap has trained us for. The trap you trained for is the next thing. The off button is okay with being with the current thing and being happy about it. For me, and this is just me, your version may look different. The off button started showing up in super small places, in a chair, in a conversation that wasn't about anything, in a walk where I didn't bring my phone, being able to go and do different things. Finding an off button for me where I could go fishing and I could go on my walks during the day and I can have phone calls with whoever I wanted to have phone calls with whenever I wanted to. That was the off button. That's what I had been chasing. The thing I most want you to hear is the off button has to be the engine itself learning to rest. And the engine doesn't want to rest. So you have to teach it slowly every day in small moments before it's a crisis. That's the work. That's the actual work, not the next thing. The work is the engine learning a new gear. And if I was to sum up this entire episode in 3 lines, one, the climb won't fix the lonely. The climb is what creates the lonely. It's lonely at the top. They always say that. Whatever you're chasing right now, start practicing being in a room full of people who can't think with you. 2, the people above you in any system are running portfolios. You're one of many. You're running one life. Do the math and don't read the tone. 3, the version of you who said yes to whatever you're inside of right now isn't the version of you that's going to do the work on the other side. Letting that earlier version go quietly without anyone clapping for it, that's the work. That's the part that no one tells you about. And the last thing, you're going to be okay. And I know that sounds soft. And I know so many, you've heard it from 1,000 people who don't even earn the right to say it. So let me say it as a person who spent years in corporate America frustrated, who left and went broke building my own company, who was a CFO of a bunch of different companies, who was underwater on every relationship in my life, who was convinced I'd already missed the window. I came back. The same engine that broke me is the same engine that built what I built. It's the same engine that's going to build whatever you build next, whatever I'm going to build next. Yours will too. It's the same switch. You just have to learn how to steer it. So in 2022, I told you being bootstrapped was super overhyped, and I genuinely still believe that. But the VC-backed version isn't what they tell you either. And the promotion isn't what they tell you. The degree isn't what they tell you. The relationship, the move, the new city, not because they're not great, because nothing on the outside is built to do that job. My Boeing manager, the one who told me to stick my hand in a bucket of water, he was right about the bucket. The company will not miss you. The system does not notice when you are gone. But here's what he didn't say, probably because no one had told him either. The bucket doesn't miss you, but the engine inside you that was reaching for the next promotion, the next round, the next city, the next role, that follows you to every new bucket forever. That's not the company, it's the engine. So the ambition trap isn't ambition. Ambition is phenomenal. Ambition is how my parents built a life in a country that didn't come with instructions. Ambition is how I got to every single room that I'm in. Ambition is how you got to wherever you are. The trap is when we inherit the engine and no one tells us where that off button is, let alone that the off button exists. So my parents taught me how to climb. They couldn't teach me how to stop because no one taught them how to stop. And that's not a failing. That's literally an inheritance. So the rest of my life is learning what they didn't get to learn. So same switch, both columns, the same engine that broke me is the same engine that built me back. So the thing that hurt you is the same thing that's going to build you whatever you build next. You just have to learn how to steer it. So the engine you inherited is the most powerful thing you've got. Learn where the off button is before it teaches you the hard way. And that's the episode. That's everything. So this has been the Real Slim Fatty Show. I'm your host, Fatty Hawatma, and we will catch you next time.